Welcome to Sci-Fi Stories. If you love stories of courage and mystery, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community.
The alarm screamed through the hull like a chorus of dying stars. I could hear nothing but the pounding of my own pulse and the chaos erupting around me. Outpost Meridian 7 was under siege. The corridor stretched into darkness, punctuated by flickering lights and the acrid smell of scorched electronics. 008. I am Auditor Zix, and I had come expecting paperwork and protocols. What I found instead was survival at the edge of the galaxy, and the Terran spirit in full bloom. 012. The invaders were called the Scarab, hulking, bone-plated mercenaries with claws designed to rend armor and flesh alike. They had expected easy prey: scientists, diplomats, children. Their first mistake, underestimating a mother from Earth. 020. Elena Crow sprinted down the corridor, unarmored, carrying nothing but a broken support beam. Its jagged tip glowed white-hot from the friction of her sprint. She didn't hesitate. She didn't calculate. She surged forward, her boots slamming into the reinforced plates of the corridor with a force that made even my sensory frills vibrate. 028. A Scarab leveled a kinetic rifle at her, its pulse charging. Elena didn't dodge. She collided with it, driving the beam straight through its chest plate, piercing as though the alien's armor were wet paper. Sparks and energy arcs danced across the corridor, reflecting in my optical sensors. I froze the data playback. My blue blood ran cold. 036. 3 weeks ago, I had dismissed humanity as soft. Their bodies lacked claws, scales, or natural armor. Their eyes lacked thermal vision. They needed sleep, sustenance, rest. I had filed my initial reports with bureaucratic boredom. 042. But humans are born from gravity. From pressure. From worlds that demand resilience. And mothers are volcanoes. 046. The mess hall incident had been a minor warning. A child accidentally brushed against an apex predator from the local species. The enforcer reacted violently, striking the child across the floor. The hall went silent, but not from fear. It was the vacuum before eruption. 052. Elena didn't scream. She didn't negotiate. She stood. Calm, measured, terrifying in her precision. With a flick of her wrist comp, a holographic charter projected between her and the enforcer. Legal code, binding the station and enforcer alike. The predator blinked. A soft-skinned human wielded law like a weapon sharper than any claw. 058. The automated turrets descended. Red dots marked the enforcer's chest. Humans had created safeguards where others created weapons. I had thought that peace was their strength. I had been wrong. It was restraint. 104. Now the Scarab breached the habitation wing. Sector 7 erupted into fire and debris. Elena was at the center, weaving through chaos, her child in tow. Her colleagues followed, improvising weapons from tools, canisters of supercooled liquids, and engineering wrenches. Each strike a symphony of ingenuity, turning the mundane into lethal instruments. 110. The hall became a blur of motion. The Scarab were heavy, armored, and brutal. They relied on brute strength. Humans relied on calculation, instinct, and ferocity. They were creatures of a death world, their muscles compacted into pistons and hydraulic weapons. Adrenaline disengaged every limiter. 116. Elena reached the nursery. A Scarab warlord blocked the entrance, holding her child by the collar. His tusks glinted under the alarm lights. Confidence radiated from him, no soft-skinned human could breach his void armor. 120. Elena dropped her makeshift beam. She gripped the reinforced frame of the blast doors. A normal species would have torn their tendons. She screamed. The metal groaned. Sparks cascaded like starlight. The doors bent and warped, giving way to the sheer force of maternal fury. 126. The warlord's grin disappeared. Apex predator instinct screamed at him. Elena surged forward, her lower center of gravity driving him into the wall. The alloy dented. The concussive shock sent shivers through the corridor. 132. She didn't strike again. She shielded her child, rocking him gently as alarms and chaos swirled around them. A mother, a death welder, a living weapon of love and fury. 138. 2 days later, I presented the footage to the Galactic Council High Command. The Terran species had been dismissed, underestimated. I placed the data crystal before the council, footage of Elena Crow tearing through reinforced doors, freezing shields, bending steel with nothing but muscle and love. 144. We expected savages, I said. We got mothers. We got humans. They prefer law, order, and peace, but when those fail, they are dormant volcanoes. They are apex predators in the guise of civilization. 150. The council paled. The humans were not just intelligent. They were the unexpected variable, the uncalculated force in a galaxy that prides itself on predictability. They laughed at impossible odds, they adapted, and when cornered, they unleashed the raw power of a species forged in crushing gravity, relentless adversity, and fierce love. 156. Elena Crow returned her child to the nursery, wiped blood from her hands, and smiled faintly. The Scarab were vanquished, not by guns, but by ingenuity, resolve, and the indomitable Terran spirit. 202. We had underestimated them for centuries. Now, the galaxy knew better.